In this video, we are going to build a movie filter component. The idea of this component is that we are going to be able to filter movies by their name, their genre, if they are upcoming releases, and so on. So let's create a component first. Let's open the terminal and let's say ngGC movies movie filter, and let's say skip test equal to true, and let's press enter, and let's go to the routing module. Let's say routing, let's come here because I want to create a new route. Let me come here and let's create a new routing rule. Let's say movies filter component filter movie component movie filter component, and let's put a comma here. And now we have to put this URL that we have here in our app menu. So let's say app menu component. Let's look for menu HTML, and in here we're going to put a div here, and let's say anchor search movie, let's say mat button, and router link, and let's paste this here. And I want an icon, so let me say mat icon, and I will say search here. Now let's save everything and let's see what we get. And as you can see, we have search movies here, and we can click on it and we are in the component. So now let's work on the UI of this component. What we're going to do is that we're going to have a form in it. So let's go to the movies filter component. Let's come here and let's get to work. Let's delete this. And let's say here h2 search movies, and I will have a form, which means that I want to have a form group. So let me create that form group. Let me go to the class of this component, movie filter.ts, and as always we need to inject the form builder service. So let's say form builder and form builder here, and let me create a property in this class which will be of type form group. And now here I will initialize that form group. Let's say this form equal to this form builder group, and let's pass an object here, and we're going to have 4 properties here in this object, which are going to be title for the title of the movie, genre ID for the genre of the movie, upcoming releases, and the default value is going to be false because this is going to be a checkbox, and finally in theaters, which will also be false by default. Now we have this, and so we can use it here. I can say form here, and now let's get to work on the form. First, for the title of the movie, we're going to use an input. So let's say mat form field, and let me say here appearance outline mat label title, and in here we can say input form control name, which, if you remember, is how we link this input into one of the fields defined by the form group. So let's say title, so here we will say title, and mat input here. Now let's work with the genre. Let's say here mat form field, and let me copy this from here and paste it here. Let's say mat label, and let's say genre, and in the case of the genre we want the user to use a select so that the user can choose between several genres. So what I'm going to do is that I will use a select control from material design. So let's go to material module to import the corresponding module. Let me say Angular material select, and let me say here module mat select module, and let me export this module here. And now we can go back here, and first let's learn how to work with the mat select element. So let's say mat select, and of course we have to use the form control name to associate this with a control from the form group. We're going to say genre ID, and in here you can have several mat options. So I can say mat option, and I can say something like value. We're going to hard code this just for a moment. We can say this, and let's say 1 and drama. Let me copy and paste this, and let's say 2 and comedy. And let's see what we have. Let's save everything. And let me come back to Google Chrome. And as you can see, we have the title here. And we have genre here. And we can select between drama or comedy. Of course, in the future, this is going to come from a database. But for now, we're going to use hard-coded data. Though something that I want to do is that I want to use an array of genres defined at the class level. So let me come here and let me say genres equal to an object ID 1, name drama, this should be a string drama, and let me say element 2, ID 2, name action, and that should be fine. So now I will iterate this genres array in my mat select. So I will delete this and I will use an ng4. Let me come here and say ng4 and I will say let genre of genres, and here I will put genre ID and here I will put genre name. And so we can save, and let's come back here and you can see that this still works, but we have a design problem here. This is too close together, so let's work on that. Let me come to the CSS file of the movie filter component. So let me say movie filter CSS. So I will say form width 100%, but we're going to say form mat form field, and we're going to say width of 30% and a small margin right of 1 rem. Let me save and let's come back here. And as you can see now, there is some space between the controls. Now let's continue working. We're going to work with a checkbox. So let's go back here. And what I'm going to do is that I will go to material module because I need to import a module for working with checkboxes. Let's say material, checkbox. And let me come here, module, my checkbox module. Let me copy this and paste it here. And now I will go to my movie filter component HTML and let's write a div here and I will say mat checkbox form control name, and it's going to be equal to upcoming releases, which is this field that we define here, upcoming releases. So let me come here and let me say upcoming releases, and I will copy and paste this because we need another checkbox. We're going to say in theaters, and here we're going to say in, and let's say theaters, and let's save, and let's come back here, and let's see that now we have these two checkboxes here that we can use. And finally, we're going to add a button for cleaning up the form. So let's go back here, and let's come back here, let's say div, and let me say button. Let's say mat flat button, click, let's say clean form, and we're going to say clean. Or should we say clear? Clear, I think it is more clear. So clear form, no pun intended. And let me come here, and let me paste this. And UI wise, we're good to go. No, we're not, because we're missing a color here. Let's say color 1, save. And now we're good to go. And as you can see, we have built the UI. In the next video, we're going to work with the functionality of this component.